I can't believe it, guys. Like clockwork, another Monday hit the calendar, which means it is another discussion over what the best legendary card for a champion of the realm is. So, joining me this week, I know how much you guys love when Wilson steps in, but we killed him. We're here with Scott. Say hi, Scott.
Yowdy.
And as always, I am No Right Answers himself, Danny. And today we're doing Evie, who is easily a champion who went from literally pure hatred for me to a very special spot. I want to say part and then spot and said spart. A very special spot in my heart. I love me some Evie. Again, I have her. If you guys want to go back into the archives of the No Right Answers, you will find a fail reel of me just being the worst Evie on earth.
Me telling you to play Evie wrong. That's what it was.
You gave me like the worst Evie advice ever, and then I stopped
I'm
listening
doing
to you.
it. It's not working. I'm flying into the middle of them. I'm going to
just getting rectopotamus, but I've since got to spend a lot of quality time with her, and I love playing Evie right now. She's so much fun to play. So a unique thing about Evie is that she has literally one damaging ability. I'm not counting her normal attack, right? Because everyone has a normal attack. She has one damaging ability, and it's her ult. So she has an ability that turns her into an ice block and makes her invulnerable to damage. She has a blink, and she has fly away on her broom. Those are all three of her abilities that are on cooldown that you don't have to build up. And then she has her ult, which is Ice Storm. So she's someone that you have to put thought into, because you can't just go, hey, left click, right click, Q, you're dead. You know, like, she doesn't have that in her kit, but she can literally, if you don't have any defense mitigation on you, two-shot just about any damage and any other flank character. I don't think she can. She definitely can't two-shot any tanks, and I don't think she can two-shot Groot. I don't think she can two-shot Groot, and I think that's about it. Groot, you know Groot. You know who Groot is. Grover. So, with that, we're going to go through real quick her three legendary cards. Her first one is Reprieve. Reprieve is the free legendary card, the one you don't have to grind to get or essentially spend any essence on. When you go into your ice block, which is your right click, you heal 600 health per second. Her second one is Wormhole, which allows her to use her blink ability twice within 4 seconds of the initial cast, which will blink her back to her original spot. And then her last one is Over the Moon, which puts her Soar on a 5-second cooldown. I know you're reading it and it says reduces the cooldown of Soar by 5 seconds, but Soar's cooldown is 10 seconds. So reduce 10 by 5, it's 5 seconds. So essentially it makes it 5 seconds, and that changes again with cooldown mitigation later on, but we'll say by, flat out 5 seconds. So Scott, being the person who made me play Evie the first time and made me hate her and then made me love her again, what would you consider her best legendary card? And don't say Wormhole.
Okay. So my belief right now is that Reprieve is what I'm finding to be the best when I play her. And a lot of the reason that's a huge heal. I mean, you're full life by the time you're done.
Every time.
And I feel like a lot of the times what's happening is all my movement abilities are happening, and I hit that ice block. I get into a mess of things, and I just become so good at clicking that ice block when necessary, and it's just an awesome boost up, and then you start clicking blink before you're done, and you just out of there. I used to, before the patch came out with the legendaries, Wormhole was a card. So I built my deck around Wormhole, and I used to literally stand there, pop in, shoot, 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 pop out. But it was a card, and for every one of those, of the 4 points you put into it, for every point, it was an additional second that you had to use blink again. So if you put all 4 in, you had 4 seconds, which is what the legendary is. So I would, if it was 1 second, it's impossible to use. So that I saw somebody else doing that, and I realized that's like the best thing to do. And then when the legendary drop, I'm like, oh, this is what I wanted. This is what I was using. So I think this is going to be the best one. And then I picked it because I also had my card set up so I could heal during ice block. And I realized after playing a couple games that the thing that was more effective and that I could use more was the heal during ice block. Because during that time, things come off cooldown, and I'm out and again, I'm moving around, essentially.
So, Reprieve is, again, it's the free one, and it is the most annoying of all of her legendary cards. I played a game the other day against a Gronk and an Evie rocking Reprieve, and I shit you not, they just wouldn't die. We ended up winning the game in the long run, but if I could tell you that my annoyance level was through the roof of two characters who literally refused to die. And I'm pretty sure that the Gronk was rocking the automatic Ghost Walk legendary card too. So it's like I would kill him and then he would Ghost Walk, and then I would go to kill him again and then he would manually Ghost Walk. And then meanwhile there's this Evie who's hitting me so hard, and then I'm like, I'm gonna blow her up, and then she's like, no, I'm gonna be in an ice block, dude, and I'm gonna go back to full health. So Reprieve for a while, I was like, it's so good, and it's super simple. You're low on life, just put yourself in an ice block. You're invulnerable, all your life is going to go back. And because I am the master of inconsistent logic, I'm going to say that the legendary card that gives you more for your money if you're more skilled. And I know, again, if you watch the series, I usually say the thing that you can use most often and the simplest tends to be the best card. But Wormhole is so good. It is so good. And before I get into why Wormhole is so good, I'm going to talk about why Over the Moon is not one that I would consider. And I would not consider Over the Moon because there's other ways to get your Soar on cooldowns faster. Aside from just Chronos, a 10-second cooldown, Max Chronos would give you a 7-second cooldown. Those 2 seconds are either forever or not a big deal, depending on how you feel about it. But she also has a card that's very much like Sky's card, legendary card, that puts all her cooldowns on zeros for an elimination. She has one that puts her Soar cooldown, if you put 4 points into it, on 0 for a kill. Again, kill separate from eliminations, being you have to last hit versus not last hitting, but as a flank, you're going to last hit. And I have a build around her that I put that in there, so her Soar is always up, because her Soar is super cool, because you just fly away. You fly in, you start a fight, you fly away. That 5 seconds feels good, but because there's other ways to get it, both with the cards that you can buy in-game and then her actual deck, I have to say that it's less a priority, where Wormhole, that double blink, whether you build an extended blink range, or you do like I do, which is build the heal every time you blink. The heal when you blink will double proc on Wormhole. So you can shoot, blink, shoot, blink back, and on both blinks you'll gain life. And then that other character should be dead if you're hitting your shots. I will say this about Evie. She's essentially rocking a slow reload shotgun. That's basically what her wand is, right? So if you play other first-person shooters, it's a shotgun where you shoot and have to cock it between every shot. And if you miss a shot, you're kind of going to be hurting. It's not like Tyre or Victor where you can start missing and then just kind of realign and still hit most of your shots. You're going to have a good second in between shots. So it might not work. But on being on the receiving end of that is disorienting. They get behind you, then they shoot. You turn to shoot them back. They get behind you again. And if you add distance to it, or like I said, add that heal, you become incredibly, 1, difficult to kill, and 2, difficult to kill. Like, I don't understand. If you tag that with kill to heal, and you're good at game, which I'm not always, right? I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I wish I had Reprieve when I'm having a bad game. But if you're good at game, Wormhole makes you feel like God.
You know what's funny though? I mean, it's a good point. I mean, but I think that, in my opinion, I mean those are different styles of play, right? Like I
yes.
just. All right, and I feel it's very hard to like. This is another one. I know this is going to keep happening. All these cards that we do, all these players that we do, but like this is one where you definitely like your style of play will dictate which card is the best card. It's funny. I was just looking at her cards because you were talking about the heal every time you blink, and I started thinking. I was like, I really wondered what it would be like because you can reduce the cooldown of Soar by 25%, and that card stacks 4 times. I don't know if it goes up by 25%.
Yeah, it will go to 100% cooldown on a kill. Because that's the build I'm running right now. The build I run on Evie right now is a 100% cooldown on Soar on a kill, and then a 800 or 600% heal on a, not percent, 600 heal health regen on a blink. So it's a double blink, which by the way, 300. Well, on max? Oh, it's 600 because I'm doing it twice. What do you call it? Which will have you blinking just to heal out of combat. So that plus your out of combat heal, and that blink and that natural blink cooldown is not that long. That natural blink cooldown is like 5 seconds.
Here's another thing I was thinking about though, because that's a good point. But I'm looking at Over the Moon, right? Like I feel like a lot of times when I kind of overlook something or I put something on the side without really looking into it, and you can increase the flight speed by like 20%, right? And you can increase the duration by 2 seconds. Now, I forget how long the flight is currently. Hold on. Stand by.
Okay, yes. So while you do that, I want to put some stuff, because I do test this stuff out. Your soar, though, doesn't go on cooldown until you're done soaring. So actually extending the time of soar also extends how long before you click the soar button till it goes on cooldown. And if you increase the speed, you'll go further even if you don't increase the duration. So there's a lot going on there. So I did a lot of experimentation with it. Because with your soar, you're either going to be... soar is only...
So it's 4-second flight.
Yeah, and you go really far, by the way. Soar is... Over the Moon is good if you're going to aggressively soar.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to soar in, then you're going to need to soar out. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with that playstyle. But my whole thing is I can soar in and kill you and then soar out.
I don't know.
I get it, but I'm putting a lot of trust in my ability to kill you, which is not that good. I'm not a good flank character. I'm full disclosure, flank, worst position I play.
I will say though, like if you think about it, the effectiveness of soar if you that initial push. So when you're talking about siege, when you come to the initial point, or payload, if you're on offense, right? Because with me, the flank is all about getting out and getting past the enemy so that you can come up from behind.
Yes.
And having that ability, I can just like being able to alternate sides of the map so quickly with soar. It's something I'm going to look into one of these days and really like fine tune it to see if I can get it to work the way I want to. But yeah, I definitely think we're going to have to agree to disagree.
So again, like we said it before, we can't agree to disagree. One of us is wrong. Second of all, I'm going to continue to make my case against Over the Moon, saying that other flanks can't fly, but the maps are created so flanks can still get around. So if you can increase your base movement speed, which again is another card that she has, to just kind of move around faster dismounted, you can go in and engage with either Reprieve or Wormhole equipped and still soar out of the situation.
That's true.
Again, these are all the reasons where I think Over the Moon is not a bad card. But if you tell me that I can double blink or I can even heal for 600 per second, by the way, is so nasty. The Reprieve is so nasty and it's so easy to use. But again, if you start playing Evie and you start feeling super confident with her, and you're gonna find that Wormhole is so devastating to the back line, right? You're gonna flank. Yeah. You're gonna go to a Canessa. You're gonna shoot her. She's gonna switch to machine gun mode. You're gonna blink behind her, and you're just gonna ruin her soul. And you're gonna feel so good. You're gonna feel. I promise. that if you listen to me and not Scott, you're going to feel way more accomplished using Wormhole than that bitch-ass Reprieve. That's right. I goaded you guys into agreeing with me. So, we made our points. Let us know who you think is correct in the comments below. If there's a particular champion you want to see us do, that comment section can be used for that too. Know that we've done a bunch in the past, and by bunch I mean like 6 or 5 or whatever. So go ahead and check out the Card Thoughts playlist. Hit the subscribe button. Be our friends. There's Twitter information in the description. Scott, you got anything to say to the guys before we leave?
Just that I'm right and you're wrong. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, bye.